Hey, what's up, everybody? Mogi Monster here, and welcome to Why the Fascination, or WTF as I like to call it. We are here at our new time, um, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 over on the other coast. It's weird. Even though it's only an hour, it's bright as hell out, you know? It's just weird. It's going to be weird during the summer, too. Um, Hope everybody's doing good. I hope this works out for you guys. I felt bad where there's a lot of people not complaining, but saying, "Hey, sorry I couldn't watch last night. It's too late." So we're gonna put some consistency in this, and we'll knock it back an hour, and Thursdays I'll go on the same time, 9 o'clock as well. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully it works out and everybody enjoys it. I'm not here to compete. I just trying to help out you guys. Um, just watched some of Pat's show, the ending of Pat's show, Squatch Talk, which he is phasing out. He's not going to do Tuesday nights anymore. So he was over there talking about his experiences with The Walking Dead. Being on the set and in the movie or shows. Sorry, on the series. B says Moog's new time works for me. Works very well. Thank you. My pleasure, B. Yeah, it was long enough where I was being courteous. I mean, it sounds like I'm not trying to be a dick, but you know, I felt bad for the people who couldn't watch the show and watched it and wanted to hang out and chat and enjoy themselves. And unfortunately, it was too late. So hopefully, this is better. um, yeah, I was saying Pat's gonna phase out his Tuesday night show. He's probably got one or two more shows left. Um, and he's just gonna do his Friday night show. So that's interesting. How that worked out. It was just coincidence, and I wasn't doing it I wasn't rolling it back to step on his toes. And just like he just said before, we're not stepping on any toes. Um, there's other people on that I don't think they affect this show and this crowd, and so here we are. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing good, guys. It's good to see you. 31 watching right now. Awesome. Awesome. Nona Boss, how are you? Hey, Stevie, Papa Craig, Ida Bustamante. How are you, Ida? Barb Santy. Right on. Woohoo. I'm awake. That's cool. Who is this? Brandy, how's it going? Sorry, I couldn't read that. I don't know what it is. I need glasses. And Mr. Lee kind of freaked out when I was at Kevin's house. Was it 2 weeks ago? And put on his glasses. He's like, "Don't ever put those on again." This is where I'm going to have to. I just redid. Well, I redid the studio. I haven't done anything with the backdrop yet. Um, but the work surface that I'm dealing with now, camera's not going to shake if I touch anything, and I got bigger workspace, so it's pretty cool. I don't have to balance my microphone. I can actually keep it in front of me. So yeah, if it sounds different, it's because it's right in front of me. A lot of times I didn't keep the mic in front of me. I always kept it off to the side, but um, I was trying to figure out, the settings on the mic, which sounds better, and it's not the one on that end. I'm on the other end. There's 4 settings. But yeah, I guess it sounds all right. Yeah, I did something. I screwed up my computer somehow. Like on my camera setting, I go to video, and because I always test, I test the camera and test the mic before I get onto StreamYard. And it won't record. It won't click on. I thought I screwed up. Like I probably deleted something. And I switched something around and it worked, and then it stopped working again. So I don't know. I know I screwed something up. Once again, I've pushed the wrong button. MPW, what's up? Hey, Cindy. Uncle Bones. I hear a cat. There's a cat outside the door. Michael Haywood. All right. How do you pronounce this? Sorry, guys. Where'd it go? Icon, how's it going? Scray Ling. Sounds like a setup. It means something and something. Probably Klingon. Scray, I'm just messing with you. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Jen. Hey, Joe. I can be a full-fledged Mogite now, or you can stay awake to the end. Well, knockoff time is 11, but I can't promise anything. So at least it's a little earlier. Who else do we have here? Gary Johnson. What's up, man? Timmy Boy. Uncle Bones, I think I said hi to already. I could make it so much easier on myself and just look on YouTube instead of just using StreamYard, but it's such a distraction. Lockbeard, how's it going? Hey, Sandra. Sharon. Welcome, welcome. Who's this? Ernie, what's up, man? Welcome. So yeah, guys, same old. You guys know how this works. I will put the link in chat. Click on the link if you want to come on the show and hang out. Whatever you want to talk about. If you're new to this, it's pretty simple. Just when you click on the link, follow the directions. If you don't want to be on camera, at the bottom it says stop camera, so you can just click on that and whatever icon you have comes up. It's pretty simple. All I ask is that when you do come on, if you come on, is just turn off YouTube. Close out YouTube so we don't get any feedback. So yeah, links in chat. Like I said, anybody wants to pop on, feel free. Who else is here? Miss Dill. Wow, you're early. You're early and I'm early. Oh, that's funny. Brian and Chewy go hiking. What's up, man? Yeah, Brian, I threw it in chat last night. Brian, when you go hiking, leave your damn GoPro on. I thought you would have learned the first time in that video. He's hiking, turns his GoPro off, and as soon as he turns his GoPro off, he gets these knocks to the left, to the right, and to the front. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll keep it running and we'll hear it. Well, no, he turns it off again. He turns it on for a little bit to record that he didn't record, and he turns it off again. Leave it running. Twice. He's like, damn it, I turned it off, and it happened again. But it was a good video, dude. Keep it up. I like it. Right on. I am Pam. How are you? Good to see you, Pam. Yeah, it's good to see names that I haven't seen in a while because, well, let's face it, it was too damn late. And I hope you can all make it to the end. But yeah, Thursdays were a little rough too. I mean, that was even later. So here we are. My eyes, how's it going? I see Raptor in here. I saw somebody mention him. What's going on there, Joe? How's it going, man?
Well, like the stars are all aligned in it, dude.
How's that?
You're moving your show to 9. I'm going to be off tomorrow. So it kind of works out perfect. I don't have to fall asleep and miss your shows. And
Yeah,
so
no,
it's out.
It's just weird.
You could almost.
It's weird coming out so early. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, when you first do the change, it's like, oh shit. But yeah, you could always almost count on a comment in the comment section for me going, "Damn, I missed it again, Mogs."
But all the time. So I'm like, screw it. Let's do this where, So now it's only like 1:00 for Derek McManus.
Right. Well, 9:00.
Even Sharon, she's in the Netherlands. She stays up. She said the other day, or last night, I was in somebody's chat, and she was like, "Yeah, She's up till 5 a.m. watching the show to watch a live. That's crazy."
Yeah.
Now she's only up till 4. I thank you
for dedication, though, man.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Thank you for the dedication.
That's dedication.
Mr. Lee, what's up, man? It's same with him. It's Mr. Lee, you're late. He's always busting my balls saying I'm late.
Yeah, I was making sure that
Chopper, what's going on, man?
And
hey, Stacy. Sorry, dude. I'm just babbling.
That's okay. I do the same thing. Yeah, I was talking to him earlier before the show and just making sure. And I said, well, if you're phasing out Tuesdays and you're just sticking with the Friday show, I said, is that one still going to be at 9? And he said, yeah, 9:30. And I was like, well, cool. So since he's doing that, I mean, Fridays, my Friday shows when I do them, those are getting pushed back an hour to 7 instead of 8. That way I don't overrun his show. If I do mine at 8 and he's on at 9. And my shows, you know how they go, man. You know how it goes, Mogs. Well, they always run over, man.
But
and I hate, it's just something personal to me. I hate running over into somebody's show. I mean, especially if it's somebody I like.
Well, absolutely. No, I get it. And that's why in the beginning, I mean, I based my times on one other show, actually. Yeah. That's why it was different times on, in 2 nights because of their schedule.
Yeah.
And, nobody really gave a shit, there's so many new channels that, I was so concerned about other people's, running over or stepping on their toes that nobody cared about stepping on mine. So I'm not doing it. Like I said, I'm not doing it to be a dick, but there's too many people that can't watch the show because it's too late, who want to be here for a live, and they're here now and they're happy that they're here, I guess, Pyro, how's it going? Because they haven't been able to watch. So
yep.
It's amazing what just an hour can make a difference.
Yep. Yeah, and he was like, oh, man, you don't have to do that for me or anything, man. I'm good with, whatever. And I said, no, well, it's not even that. I mean, it just seems like it's more, well, I didn't tell him this, but it's more for me than it was for him, really. Although, like I said, I hated going over because my shows, man, dude, I had a show that ran 3 hours one time. And I'm like, Jiminy Christmas. and I don't like
Maybe. I
going
mean,
because I like Pat's show, and I know that people, you know, a lot of the same people that watch his show watch my show, they watch your show, but so I'm like, and then they got to decide. Well, let me see, am I going to jump over to this one or this one or this one? So it kind of makes it easier for the people too that like both things or all the things, and it makes it easier for them to be able to catch the ones they want to see too.
yeah, and I didn't when I started. I didn't want to compete for
Right.
an audience because I'll wait an hour, okay, because they'll
Right.
just come over to my show afterwards, and you know they don't have to decide what to do. They're like, oh yeah, okay, let's go over
Yeah.
to Moog's.
Yeah. It all worked out fine.
Danny says, "What did he just say? Not me. I'm going to watch you, no matter what time slot." It doesn't show up well here.
I don't know what do the five
No,
means.
it's if you're looking at and it's a high five. Symbol in
You
YouTube.
mean it's a
It
little
comes up.
emoji?
Yeah, on YouTube. But I just noticed. I just turned YouTube on. And I'm like, oh wait a minute.
Oh shit! Fuck these glasses. I don't care if everybody sees how high I am. Fuck it.
Oh, dude, really? I did the clear eyes before the show, and I don't know that helped. They're still half closed. It just takes the red away.
Yeah, I'm
But
loving
still,
this.
thank you for posting that.
I'm loving this little place in Canandaigua, man. Loving it, man. I just
What is that?
My little CBD shop.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Just got some. They got one in. Now I'm not much for the gummies and all that because they got all that stuff. I'm not much for the gummies or the oils or anything like that, but they got plenty of bud in there. And but they got some new stuff called Skunk OG.
Yeah.
Like, now you're talking. Now you're talking. Talking to a guy here that remembers that OG skunk. But yeah,
cool. But is it just a recycled name or is it the actual strain?
Well, it smells pretty skunky. Yeah. Yeah.
That's like what weed doesn't really.
Well, true. Although there's some that got, because they got these, right? And they're just the pre-rolls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like pre-rolls, you can buy them. And they got one called Mimosa. And I'll be goddamned if you sniff it, if you don't smell kind of a citrusy orange, like you know what a mimosa is, right?
Yeah.
And it actually smells like that, Doesn't taste really a whole lot like it, of course, but it sure smells like it though.
I don't know, dude. All these different like vapes and stuff that are flavored, even there's too much shit in it. Terpenes and shit that they use to come up with like pina colada flavored. What?
Right. I tried vaping a long time ago.
I mean the concentrates will get you messed up, dude. When you're smoking your weed at 20% or 17% THC, and then you go to a vape where a concentrate is 94%, and it's like,
right. Yeah, but I tried it with the regular vapes to quit smoking.
Oh yeah, the nicotine,
and that didn't work out for me very well. But I have tried some of the vapes like what you're talking about because my niece had them, and I try them. But I don't know. I'm OG, man. I'm from the old school, dude. I like my bud pure.
No, I'm more flower, but
yeah.
And some of those vapes will just tear you up.
Well, that's the thing is you just don't know what exactly is in them, man. Really.
No, I mean the coughing fit, and like they hit you hard sometimes. It's like holy crap.
Yeah.
sitting there, I'd be crying and coughing and snot running down my face. Just it's not pretty, you know.
Who hasn't been there?
Oh, you know.
Who hasn't been there? Yeah.
Ben, what's happening?
Molly had some pain going on, because she had a problem with her, that they couldn't figure out what in the hell was going on with her tooth because her tooth was hurting, but they couldn't see any reason why it would be. But she was having some serious pain with it. So I went in. God, I'm having a bad hair day. She went in with me because on Saturdays, when I go to work on Saturdays, sometimes she'll go with me and ride around with me. And so she's like, well, let's stop there. And I said, what do you want to stop there for? She's like, get some weed. I'm like, okay. So we go in, but she gets the gummies, right? Because she gets these gummies. They were okay. I'm not a big one. I tried one. Yeah. But then this last time we go back in because she's like, I got to restock. She likes them. But she doesn't do a whole one. She'll cut them up, because of what you were saying earlier about the percentage, of So
but usually a gummy is like 10 milligrams,
Well, they got some that are really strong.
Yeah.
And so like this last one, so we go in, she's like, I don't want the mango ones again. They had a package. So, but they had some in there, which were, so the girl shows her these other ones and they're 250 milligrams. And it's like, you better cut this into thirds, right? And so I cut a third off for her, and I ate the rest of it because I wanted to try it.
Okay.
Some of it's knocked me the hell out, dude. And I've got a pretty high tolerance, man.
Made you cuckoo
for most of my life. But dude, that thing put me to sleep, man. Like, I mean, and I'm like, dude, I'm not sure how to feel about that.
How's it going? Oh, I remember the first time I did a dab. This was years ago, and I was like, it knocked my dick in the dirt, man. I was just like, I was at my friend's house and I was going to help him do some landscaping. We went in his trailer and, we had it was like a mobile home and a drivable one that actually drove. And
so it was truly a mobile home.
Try this. And I took 2 hits and I was like drooling before I got off the bus. I'm like,
I was drooling.
I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? And how long does it last? Because I have to be at work in 4 hours.
He said, you better call in.
I was useless, helping him.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious.
Anyway, sorry guys, we're sitting here talking about doing dabs and weed. Although I know a lot of you smoke.
Well, it's becoming legal and more and more.
Jeff says, the first time I dabbed, I woke up the next day and couldn't find my hat. I'm pretty sure I ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chopper says CBD works great for a lot of things medical.
So does this. I mean, when it comes to my anxiety and PTSD,
hey, everybody.
Man, this is better than anything any doctor has ever tried to prescribe me for anxiety and PTSD, dude. This does it.
It's natural.
I don't like those other pills and shit, that they put you on. Like they had me on Xanax and I don't know what else, dude.
Nope.
I didn't like it, man. And at the time, in fact, I don't know if they would prescribe. Now it's legal in New York State, but my doctor couldn't prescribe it for me because because they did have a statute, not a statute, but you know what I mean, a thing that it was medicinally legal first, but you had to have, but only for certain things, right? And PTSD and anxiety was not on the list for things that it could be.
Shit, you can get it now for like a hangnail.
Yeah. But now it's legal, so I don't need the doctor to prescribe it to me. So, I prescribe it myself. And
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know how easy throughout your life you didn't have much difficulty finding weed. I mean, there were occasions when there'd be a dry spell, but everybody always had a connection. Someone brought some shit up from the city or whatever.
That's funny you say that, man, because when I lived in Virginia, it was almost like clockwork, man. You could tell when the herb was running out and you weren't going to be able to get any more herb through the winter because all of a sudden you'd see people start selling hash. So it was like all through the summer, you can get all kinds of weed and everything else, all the weed you wanted. But towards the wintertime, for some reason, the sources would start drying up, but then people be getting hash, and then you'd buy hash through the wintertime until you can get back.
I haven't done hash forever
and buy some weed. Yeah, it was like clockwork, man. First time I seen somebody bust out, "Hey man, I got this hash." I went, "Oh shit, that means the weed's gonna be running out anytime now."
So Nikki says, "I've never smoked weed in my life. My cousin passed a joint to me, and I faked a hit."
Sure, you did.
I smoked for sure. I love it.
For some reason, I was hungry as a motherfucker after that. No.
It's like Mitch Hedberg used to say, "Man, I used to smoke weed. I still do, but I used to too."
I still do too, but I used to.
Hey, Jay.
What are you doing?
What's going on, Jay?
Hey, Joe.
Make sure I ain't got everything muted here.
Oh, Stevie said, please explain to the audience what a dab is.
Little dab of weed.
A dab is, it's a concentrate of THC that comes in a wax form. And it's smoked where you vaporize it. It's not like smoking, you're smoking a joint. You're vaporizing this wax. And the concentration is like I said earlier, I mean, your average weed could be 17% THC. Sometimes it goes up, but the percentage of THC in a dab or the wax is like anywhere from 80 to 90 to 90 something, percent. So that's what a dab is. So the first time I did a dab is I smoked that wax and yeah.
Little dab of do you?
Indeed it will.
Anyway, I didn't mean to turn your show in all about smoking weed or nothing.
No, dude, that's right. Obelisk says a dab is a near-death experience. No, that's what the near-death experience comes when you're choking on, you're gasping for breath because you just took a dab, and your lungs aren't ready for that shit, and your throat can't handle it. And you spend the next 10 minutes regretting it. And after 10 minutes, you're like, oh, yeah, it was worth it.
True story, man. I wish.
So anyway. So how about you, Jay? You just a drinker?
You talking to me?
Your name's Jay, right?
Was yesterday. Yeah. Oh, buddy.
How you been?
I'm having a hell of a day. I'm telling you. Buddy. Yeah.
Is it a good day or is it?
I told you. I don't know if I told you somebody somewhere. I had a tornado go over my house yesterday.
Really?
We had hailstones. We had hailstones, and I'm not exaggerating, bigger than golf balls. And it tore all my
that'll
screen.
put a hurting on your lanai.
It did tore all my screens off my lanai, tore every bit of the screen was off.
Yep.
I thought I escaped it. Well, all the goddamn roofers are hitting this town. So I waited till a good reputable one came by. And he got on my roof. It fucked my roof up too.
Oh, hail damage.
Yeah, and I just put solar on my house. This house is sold, remember? I got to have all this shit fixed now. Tore all my solars off.
Oh, well, that's what insurance is for.
Yeah, I got insurance, thank God. Put dents in my damn brand new Fiat.
Good.
But other than that, I've had a great day.
Yeah.
Right on. Wow.
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead, what's up, man?
It is what it is.
So have you ever
Yeah, it's funny how
pass in your life, Jay?
I'm sorry?
I said, have you ever puff pass in your day?
Yes, I have.
Did you ever smoke weed, Jay?
I've partaken, yes, back in the day. Yes.
That's more of a straight out way to say it.
Tuesday. It was last.
I've partaken, yes.
Now I
Back
just
in the
grow.
day. Goddamn. My mother-in-law was the one to pass that goddamn old woman. She smoked it religiously.
Yeah. That's funny. My dad was just a drinker.
What's wrong with that?
According to him, he never ever smoked marijuana. And I believe him, when he said he never did.
I've never smoked in my life. I dip, but I've never smoked in my life,
Yeah.
Really?
My dad kind of a rough guy.
That's good.
Because I didn't want to. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smoke cigarettes, Ben.
Yeah, I just chose not to.
Hey, it ain't
No,
for
that was a good
everybody.
choice. Cigarettes suck.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
And now the prices are just getting outrageous, and
Oh my
it's.
God, yes.
I think it's time because I'm 3 weeks away from my. No, hold on, I'm 3 weeks away from my 5-year anniversary for not having a drink, but yet I continued to smoke for 5 years. So I think it's like time to kick that to the curb.
Congratulations.
Because it's just ridiculous.
Quitting smoking is one of the hardest things I've ever done, man.
Thank you.
And but yeah, man, I mean, it's getting so expensive. We figured it out. If we both quit smoking, me and my wife, Molly and I quit smoking, man, we'd save $500 a fucking month, dude. Can you believe that shit? Because they're so freaking expensive.
I'm pissed off at you, Joe. I'm pissed off at you and Jeff and Pat, Joe.
Why is that, for Jay?
Because you didn't have a goddamn bit of country music on there last night.
Hey, it wasn't my show, man.
I don't know.
I was just along for the ride.
Now that we're on this subject.
Not one bit of country
No, there were
music.
good questions. The problem with doing a show like that is Google. You can't legitimately. It's not like I want to see a show where it's common. It's knowledge. People answer because they know, not because they can find out. And it's weird because I had it on my phone and then I was watching on my phone and I switched to my laptop, and there was a delay just between my phone and laptop. So I'm like pounding out these answers, and on my computer it says, "Oh yeah, I was the first one to answer," but then it's like, nope, it's all how it comes up, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
If I had been doing it on my phone, I would have had like 2 seconds of extra time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense. If you played, you know what I'm talking about. But it was fun. There were some good questions. Texas Jack, I don't know how the hell you answered them so quickly.
Oh, he's good, wasn't he? Him and that Andy guy.
Yeah. I used to be like that, man, when my mind was like a steel trap. Well, my mind's still like a steel trap. It's just a rusty steel
It's
trap.
constantly shut.
It's got a little rust. You're still
little
got a little
oil.
rust on it.
It's a bit rusty.
Got a little rust on it now.
It's got a real short chain. Sandra, good night.
Night, Sandra.
Go on early, and I still lose them early. Man, I hope I'm not upsetting anybody.
I don't know. Hey, don't
the subject we've been discussing. It's
don't give it two thoughts. We're all adults, bro.
I'm just scrolling back to make sure. Well, no, I don't want to piss anybody off.
So Mo, why'd you change the time?
Gary. LIB, what's up?
I don't think he heard you, Ben.
Mose,
No, I didn't
why
hear
you
you.
change the time, man?
What's up?
Why did you change the
what?
time? Why did you change the time?
Because there were a lot of people who couldn't, it was too late. People were
Yeah.
not able to watch the live show, so that's
I'm
why I
glad
changed
you
the time.
did. I'm glad you did. I'm just
I'll
wondering
tell you,
why.
I'll tell you exactly why I did. He got tired of watching me fall asleep in a chair. That's why.
maybe we can catch Derek sober.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, it's just
Yeah, it's funny.
It's
Go ahead.
no, it's just it was time. And maybe I should have done it a long time ago, but
Right.
it's going to work
Maybe
out,
so.
and I think it is what it is. So here we are.
I should have.
No, what were you
Because
gonna say?
I used to drink like a fish, man. I mean, seriously. And I've really, really cut down. But the funny thing is that now that I don't drink like really often, when I do drink, it seems like I drink all the time. It's just weird. Because it's like people say, "Oh, what's you drink?" It's like, well, I do sometimes, but it usually takes me like the other night, I was drinking.
Yeah.
But now I probably won't have another beer for like another 2 months or more, or 3 months even sometimes. Because I gave up. I mean, I still love the taste of beer, but it just, I don't know, man. I don't have the energy it
Kelly,
takes.
you're not missing anything.
I don't have the energy it takes to get drunk all the time.
Yeah.
My dear wife had passed away. She was a recovering alcoholic, like you are, Moggs. And when we met, just out of respect, I quit drinking. I quit drinking for 22 years just out of respect for her, And but when she passed,
Right on.
I started drinking.
That's so admirable.
I started drinking I like my whiskey and I like my Jim Beam and Coke. I'll drink a couple of toddies. Nothing. I don't get smashed faced or anything like that,
Yeah, Stevie B says, now smoke, that's a different story. Well, exactly. Exactly. I got my dad to smoke.
Hey, Jen.
Well, he didn't actually smoke the whole joint. He took a few. My dad was a bastard, man. He was a mean ass bastard. But there were some things he could be kind of cool with. And like when I was a teenager and he found out I was smoking weed, I thought we were going to really bump heads about it. He didn't really say much about it. All he told me, he was like, I don't see what you see in that damn crap. And I said, Dad, you like to drink. You like alcohol. I said, well, this stuff, I mean, it's like what you do is worse. Oh, bullshit. I said, I'll tell you what, Dad. Smoke a joint with me, and then if you don't like it, then I'll never smoke this stuff in your house ever. And he took a few hits off it and everything, and he was like, "Oh, I still don't see what the hell you see in that." And I'm like, "Well, all right, fine. I won't smoke in your house."
I never got high with my dad.
And
I
I
did.
said, "All right, I won't smoke in your house." And he
My
said,
dad
"Well,
was a cop, so
if you do it here, at least I know you're not getting arrested somewhere else." I'm like, "Okay."
it's true.
I smoked with my dad. I'm lucky. Yeah.
Well, did you ever see that? What show was it on? Mogs, you might remember this. There was a show. It was in. Oh, what the hell? I can't remember, but it says it was an advertisement. It was like a special moment missed, and you see like through the windows of this house, there's this kid that's in his room, and he's firing up a bong, and you look through the other window, and it's his dad's room, and it's like dad doesn't understand his kid, and you see him in there firing up a bong. It's like missed opportunity, right?
I learned it by watching you.
And I can't remember what show that was on.
I learned it by watching you. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
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 Learned it from watching you, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what they said, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My Eyes is Joe. Was it an after school special?
I don't know. I don't think it was an after school special. It was a comedy show. I can't remember which one it was though.
There was a show, one of those after school specials, and it was called Stoned. And it was about this kid.
There it is. It was in
I'm
the
trying to-
movie Half Baked. That's right. It was in the
Okay.
movie Half Baked.
Well, this movie Stoned, I don't remember who the fuck was in it. If it was like, if you ever remember Robbie Benton.
Oh, I
Robbie
remember.
Benton's
Rob.
brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was in it, but they filmed it at my high school,
Oh,
like
wow.
the whole campus and shit.
The best stoners was Cheech and Chong. Oh my God, they're so goddamn funny.
Eternally.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah.
one of their funniest movies, hands down to me anyway. One of their funniest movies was the Corsican Brothers, man.
Yeah. When they that one movie where he rolled that goddamn joint that was as big as a goddamn football. Remember?
The eggs. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Right.
Yeah.
They were pulled over the side of the road, man. How's my driving? I think we're parked, man. They're all up on the curb and shit, not even moving.
They was driving. I remember one time they was driving. One time this goddamn old lady on one of those 3-wheel bicycles came by them.
Oh man, the good scene, man. The funny scene in Up in Smoke when they're driving the van made out of marijuana. And the back of the kitchen's fire is blowing all that smoke. And the cops following motorcycles. Cop pulls them over, walks up to the thing, goes, "What'd you guys want?" I would have pulled over his on the curb, and dude's got the hot dog, and he goes, "You gonna eat that?" He goes, "No, man, you can have it." The hot dog because that's hilarious, dude. When he walks up to the cop van, he pulls him over. He walks up. So, what'd you guys want?
Hey, Jeffro.
Hey guys,
Hey, Jeff.
so I had to hop on and tell you yeah, some people call me that here.
I'm pissed off at you too, Jeff.
I already heard that.
It's all right. I don't know why he's pissed off at me. I didn't have no
You
control
mi-
over it.
You missed my comment in chat, though. I said the first time Jay ever smoked weed, he had to spark his bong with a bow drill.
Actually, I did with 2 flint rocks.
There was a flint and some steel involved.
Somebody in chat wants Ben to tell a scary story.
Well, I
Scary
popped on
story?
to tell you
Yeah, I
a
saw
weed
that.
story
Yeah, scary
that's
stories
funnier than
from Ben.
shit. I sent you a link, Mugs, in your messenger. So in my hometown in South Dakota, up the road a little ways is this little town called Tabor, South Dakota. And this guy that lives there, he's 46 years old. He lives with his mom. She's like 78 years old or some shit. And he just got back from Colorado. He bought a whole bunch of weed and edibles and fucking gummies and all that shit. And he took a whole pound of THC butter and made this huge pan of brownies with it. A whole pound of THC butter. And made this giant batch of brownies. He made them that night because the next day he was having his buddies over, right? And the next morning, his mom gets up. She's 78 years old. She sees this giant pan of brownies. She takes them with her to the community center because she's going to play cards with all these senior citizen ladies. And I ain't shitting you. These old women were passing out. They were fucking puking all over the table. The ambulances were hauling them to the fucking hospital. And he got arrested for it. They figured it out. His mom, there was like 3 brownies left, and they tested them and realized they're full. And his mom goes home and she's like, "Oh, you won't believe this. All my friends are in the hospital." And he's like, "Well, where'd my fucking brownies go?" And so she calls the cops and tells them what happened, and they come over and arrest his ass. But the whole news story went,
Thanks, Mom.
it went worldwide. It was on NBC and everything. I sent Mugs the link to it. It's funnier than shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I just got it a couple minutes ago.
All these old women, they're passing out and puking, and his
It's
mom
funny and it's
felt
not
horrible.
funny, you know?
His mom felt horrible. Everybody in town for the next week, like, wouldn't talk to her.
Yeah, but how do you think
Yeah, they
they
got
felt?
covered.
Never mind getting sick. Just the whole getting stoned and being like, well, what the fuck is going on?
Well,
Bingo!
Clueless.
I mean, what blows me away is if you come home from Colorado with a whole pound of THC, but I mean, that's a brick. Are you going to use it all in one batch of brownies? I mean, Jesus. It's no wonder they were
Apparently.
puking and shit. They were.
It's a lot of butter.
Yeah.
Chess board, what's up, man? Hey, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only had like really like homemade edibles once, and they were chocolate chip cookies, and they kicked my ass. But other edibles, I'm like, eh.
I've had a few.
I think the way to do it now with edibles is actually to go to one of these higher end dispensaries and buy, it's not just weed or gummies or THC oils, but like this guy used. I mean, they make THC butter now, flour. I mean, they make all these ingredients so that you can make these edibles and it's not just ground up weed in them, I mean, to me, edibles was pot brownies. I mean, it wasn't like butter with the THC in it. But
That's the second order.
Stevie.
Yeah, now we can see Ben.
That I had this.
Hey,
I did have.
what's going on, fellas?
There's the second orb I've ever seen right there.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know you looked so superhero like there, Ben. I couldn't see it before.
Yeah. No, not superhero like. I just like
You got her slick clean there, brother.
a what?
You got it slick clean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I used to for a while myself. I did that.
Skinhead
Got
days.
tired of the hair. Tired of the hair, shaved my head bald. And then I got tired of having to shave my head all the time. So then I let it grow back. But
Mm-hmm.
Hey, at least it grew back.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing, man. I'll never go bald. I've always had a full head of hair, and but if I ever did, I always swore, man, if I started getting a bald spot and shit, and you know, started getting the Friar Tuck thing going, I'm like, screw that, man. I definitely
Shave it all
will shave
off.
my head.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping a few scraps of hair, you know,
No.
hanging out.
Come over.
Nah, who would do that? That's ridiculous.
Y'all talking about me?
Nobody's talking about you, man. Nobody's talking about you.
Correctly.
Your hair looks good, brother.
What little bit I got?
Yeah, man. It looks good, man.
Wear it
Let me
well.
tell you something, Jay. I got a
Absolutely.
buddy of mine that's same age as me, and he don't have no more hair, dude. You got more hair than that man, and you're older than he is.
You know, when I started turning gray when I was 30 years old. I had gray
Some
hair
people
when I was
go
30.
prematurely, yeah.
Yeah, I had gray hair when I was 30. I'm talking about solid white like it is now.
Yeah.
My dad, when he was in the military, he had already was starting to lose his hair, and his call sign. He flew helicopters, and his call sign was Chrome Dome. And I always grew up thinking, fuck, I'm gonna lose my hair, you know. So I was growing it out all the time in high school. Shit, I still got a full head of hair. I don't know if that just skipped a generation or what.
You gotta look at. They say you have to look at your mom's side of the family.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
That's
And
where it comes to.
my mom's grandpa was bald. Sure.
Was your mother's father bald?
Yes, absolutely.
No. No, he had hair. my
Muggs
dad
ain't
still
losing no
got
hair. That's
I was going to ask you, Mog, how's your dad done?
He's hanging in.
Good.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a little rough.
Yeah.
But like I
Yeah,
said,
dude.
he's stubborn, and he'll march on until he can't. You know.
Very sorry to hear about
father
that,
like
man.
son.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah,
being
we're all
stubborn,
dealing with it.
being stubborn to keep him alive longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my
Media
dad
Palace,
used to
what's
tell
up?
me- He used to
Hey,
tell
Rex.
me when I was a kid, he said, boy, when your time comes, you ain't gonna die. You're just gonna stubborn away. Because I was hard headed,
You're
man.
gonna go out kicking and screaming.
I was hard headed.
Mr. Lee wants to know: has anybody ever seen a bald Squatch?
Not yet.
Not
Of
yet.
course, I've only seen one my entire life. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Has
answer's no.
anyone here ever seen a Sasquatch?
A
Yeah, I
bald
have.
Squatch.
have.
Really?
Yeah. I
yeah,
saw one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Standing like freaking 40 feet away from me, man. No more than 15 yards.
Yeah. Mine was about 20 feet in front of me.
He was
Yeah.
chasing a deer. Well, he wasn't chasing it; he was pushing it.
Mm.
Absolutely, man.
Mine was chasing a bunch of hogs. Yeah.
I will take that to
Damn.
my grave, man. I will take that to my grave. I got no proof of it. That's why I don't get mad when people don't believe me, because I'm like, well, I can't prove it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
word. The word is the word is proof enough. Yeah.
You would hope.
There, Jeff
The
seen
one-
one. too when
The
he
one
was-
I was in front of wasn't chasing anything. It just really didn't want me to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, I didn't know what mine was in 66. This is before. I never heard of anything like that. You know, it was just a huge creature is all I know, you know, and then,
Yeah, but
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it.
All right. Well, Jeff's experience was a unique one too. I mean, he had a log thrown at him where he was
Yeah.
injured. You know.
Yeah. Thank God mine was running sideways. Didn't even know I was there, you know.
Yeah.
He was
I'm
occupied.
very interested. I've never seen anything, but I'm very interested in stories, you know?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Want to see one?
Well, you know, I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of people over the years. I've been studying this or investigating this whole phenomenon, Ben, since 1978, man, since I was a kid. And over them years, man, I've heard a lot of people tell me about a lot of different encounters. And I got to tell you the truth, there's about, I'd say at least 80% of the people that I've talked to, I believe they had a genuine encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can
Yeah,
say
you
is,
know,
I mean, why would somebody make this up?
all I can say is I encountered something that wasn't supposed to be in those woods. I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. It was
Yeah.
just something. It just,
Yeah, I mean, according to our perception of the
Yeah.
woods, it's not supposed to be there.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But according to the normal part of the world, I mean, they're there, right?
Yeah.
Worldwide.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I had just turned 18 years old, and I didn't grow up in a family where we sat around the campfire and my uncle told a story about the time this and that. I mean, I'd never heard this stuff before. I grew up in South Dakota. It's relatively flat land. I mean, it's hunting land. It's pheasant country. It's not mountains,
Yeah.
woods. Western South Dakota and the Black Hills is, but where I grew up, it wasn't. So what I'd seen is the PG film, comic book references of old B movies, shit like that. I mean, it wasn't. It was at that time it was kind of like a joke,
Novelty.
for me. Yeah, it was a novelty, but I grew up
still
the
is a
son of
joke
a
for a
hunting
lot
and
of people.
fishing guide, and me and my dad and a couple of my cousins. I mean, even when I was bear hunting in Montana when I was 14 years old. I mean, I grew up in the woods and still hadn't had any experience that would make that feel real to me. So when this happened at 18 I was 120 miles north of Flin Flon in the northern part of Manitoba, on an island on a little lake, or a big lake that had a lot of little islands on it, and had this encounter. And it's like, it was kind of surreal to the point where it's like you're looking right at it 15 feet in front of you, and it's just standing there staring at me holding a log. And I'm thinking,
Wow.
going through my mind like a check down, like, this isn't a grizzly, this isn't a black bear, this isn't a man, this can't be a man, is how big it is. And you're doing all that within like a second or a second and a half through your head, going through this, trying to reason what is physically standing here. And so, I think about that now in retrospect, and now that I've been researching and kind of, spending a few years really putting a considerable amount of time trying to answer these questions, I'm almost glad that my encounter happened when I didn't know what I know now. I mean, I was young enough to stand there kind of bewildered, in shock, versus, I think now if that would have happened, how would I have reacted? Probably not in the ways that we tell ourselves we'll react probably isn't in a way that would work in your favor. Oh, I'd pull my camera out, or I'd reach out and try to grab it, or I'd whatever. It's like, that might not work real well for you. I mean, the best thing I could have probably done is just stand still and not react. I didn't scream, I didn't yell, I didn't do anything. I just stood there until it threw a log at me and knocked me over. So
That's the way with me. I just sit there on that log and in astonishment. I never even saw the film. What were you talking
Patterson
about?
Gimlin.
I never saw it till probably the early 2000s.
the only reason why I
You said
even
you were
saw
young,
it,
too.
the only reason why I even saw it was because in the late 70s, when I was a kid, if you went to matinee movies and stuff, they were showing it at the opening of movies. You know, that 10
Oh,
minutes
really?
when you're just waiting for the movie to start. They would show it during that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think-
You know, I think, Jeff, too, I think it comes down to something even more basic. Really, I don't think it's so much that people are shocked because it's an animal. It's a kind of animal that's not supposed to be in the forest. I think it's much simpler. I think it's because from a very young age, we are taught, or we were taught anyway, until now, all the things that are coming out, new discoveries, we were taught that we are the only bipedal primate species alive on the planet. We're the only ones. Everything else went extinct. And we've had that blasted into us since we were kids.
Yeah.
So I think that's even the more basic of it, that, well, wait a minute, I've told that we're the only bipedal species left.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think the other thing too, Joe, is reference. Like, for instance, if you'd never heard of or seen an elephant before, and I was telling you, these elephants, they're big, you know, they're big, they're huge. The first time we stood 10 feet away from an elephant, if I brought you to the circus, you stood there and looked at it, you'd be fucking bewildered. You'd be like, holy shit, it wouldn't matter what I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once you're standing there, like, so,
Yeah.
you know, and so I'm not talking about sightings from 100 yards away, saw it cross a road. I'm talking about people have close up encounters with them, or they're within like 50 feet of them. Even if you've known about it, even if you've heard about it, even if you've heard accounts of it, to stand there and see something that's 9 to 10 foot tall that weighs 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, you're like, what the? I mean, it just doesn't look natural. I mean, even if you were, when I say it doesn't look natural, it doesn't look like a natural living thing should be able to be that big, wide across the shoulders,
Oh,
thick
my
across
God.
the chest.
Well, Rasta wasn't quite, I'd say about 7.5 foot.
Yeah.
But the bulk was amazing. That's true. And, you know,
that's like me. I couldn't. That's like
after
me. I could.
seeing it,
That's like me. I could not get over how wide from his chest to his back.
that too. Yeah.
Oh my God! It had to be 3 feet wide. It was so ungodly big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Oh.
amazing. And it's
I was amazed at the lack of any hourglass decline in the midsection. I mean, the width at the shoulders, the width at the chest, the width at the
Pretty much
waist.
all the same,
It was just like
A 4x8 piece
tree
of
trunk.
plywood.
a giant
Yeah.
oak tree trunk, you know?
Yeah, that's the way
Yeah.
mine looked. I couldn't tell any difference from his waist to his hips to his chest. It was just all big, you know.
Yeah. And
How
after
about you, Joe? The same?
seeing that, man, I mean, my paradigm about what they are or what they possibly are was totally changed after looking one in the face, man.
Yeah.
Did it
I
look
was-
similar to what they just
I've said this
described?
a million times. I wasn't prepared for what I was seeing and what I saw. I was
Me neither.
expecting, if I ever got to see one, it would look totally different than what I saw.
Yeah.
What did you say, Ben?
I was asking if y'all said it looked like a tree.
Well, just the thickness of it, the fact that it
Yeah.
was like straight
No,
down. It wasn't like there
And it
weren't
was
any
as-
curves. There weren't any curves as far as
And it was
Yeah.
as and it
It's
was
core.
as black. Mine was blacker than your shirt, Ben. It was the blackest black you can believe. I mean, it was so
Yep.
yeah,
So no waist, just straight down.
Not
pretty
that I
much,
could
yeah,
see.
pretty much, yeah. Of course, I saw mine from the side. I didn't see mine face on. I saw mine. Mine came by me from left to right, and I just caught the side of him when he came by. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
tall. Oh my God! It was. I'm not saying he was 8 or 9 feet, but he was well over 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
telling
funny. I
you,
look at
Go ahead,
Raptor
Mo.
said, sounds like you guys are talking about the guy on Game of Thrones, the Mountain. He's about 3.5 feet wide. Or did I bump my head?
Well, the mountain's pretty big.
You know what's funny is I listened to somebody today. I'm not going to say the podcast, but he was saying how the average human, like somebody who's 6'3", 6'4", is like 2.5 feet across. I'm like, there's no way, dude.
No,
I'm
no,
6'3". I'm a big guy, and I'm not even 2 feet across. From
no.
Well, I
shoulder to
mean,
shoulder.
from shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder across. I'm like,
I mean, everybody has different builds.
I think some of these
Yeah, but-
big, these big NFL linemen and stuff. I mean, I could see where they're probably 30 inches.
yeah,
But I also
Yeah.
think there's a distinct difference between, and I say this based on looking at a lot, and I mean like hundreds and hundreds of detailed accounts and descriptions from in the southern United States and the northern United States and then in Canada. And it's, once you get into these snow regions, and the ability to survive year round in those environments, the amount of caloric intake you need and the durability your body needs to withstand versus, I think there's distinct differences. I think that you see longer hair descriptions up north, hair
Sure.
that hangs down off the arms, because
size
we're
differences.
talking about fine, thick hair that's long, because it has to insulate the body. Whereas, in Florida in 110-degree heat, there's probably less follicles per square inch. The hair is a little more coarse, so it doesn't mat down maybe as much. It stands out from the skin a little bit before it comes over. And because it has to ventilate. It's not insulating. Its body has to ventilate in that. So there's distinct differences in even just the hair, I think, when you have southern versus northern accounts. But also, I think in body mass. I think, when you're talking Texas and Florida and in these southern areas, I think an adult male probably would be pushing its limits at 8 foot and, 850 pounds. You get up north, probably an adult mature male would probably be closer to 10 foot, and it's probably around 1,200 pounds. And you see that in nature all over. A mature white-tailed deer in Alabama is about the size of a German shepherd, and a mature deer up here in the north is 110 pounds more, So you see that in the same species just because of those geographical differences in the climate and the weather and the forage, what they're eating, things like that. But so I mean, like if Jay says, well, the one I saw was 8 foot tall, that probably was as old of a male as the one I saw that was closer to 10 foot tall. It's just different parts of the country.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how old this dude was, but I wouldn't assume that he was a youngin for his species. But yeah, his hair, man. I mean, it was amazing because like he had pretty long hair, man, but it was longer in certain places than others.
That's the way
Like
mine
his head,
was. That's what I
his
noticed
hair
about
was
the one I
longer on
saw.
his head and his shoulders and his arms. And then the rest of the places, it wasn't quite as long as that, Of course, I didn't see all the way down, past his knees or anything. And like I said, mostly I was concentrating on his face. I couldn't take my eyes off of that. But the overall impression you got when I first turned and looked and saw this huge fucking thing standing there, but yeah, it was incredible, man. I'm like,
yeah, you see it like in the drawings,
about, like, oh, they look like a bodybuilder, and I'm like, okay, well, the one I saw didn't look like a bodybuilder. Like you guys said, it was like he was just huge all over. It wasn't no like down to a waist, a V shape or anything like that. He was. If you
look at like the drawings, the collections of drawings that Larry Batson has done over the years based on people's accounts and descriptions, there's a distinct pattern there that Southern encounters, as they describe the hair on the head. I mean, it's like, short hair. It's almost there's occasionally a difference, but for the most part, it's shorter hair. When they start describing that head hair that hung down, all of a sudden now you're talking about encounters that are like Ohio and up in these northern parts. So I'm not saying that that's a rule of thumb. I'm just saying that there is a noticeable trend to that. And who's to say what's normal? I mean, I see these southern accounts and you see the drawings and the animations of them, and you think it almost looks like they went to a barber shop, right? I mean, how can their hair be so perfectly short like that? But that's just because of that climate and the genetics. That's how long it grows. It's just like a horse. How come the hair on its tail is a foot long and the hair on its back's an inch? It doesn't grow longer than an inch.
Like the one I saw, I told Moggs that hair was just about Moggs' length on the back of his nape of his neck. It did have longer hair,
Yeah,
but it didn't have a cone head. The one I saw did. It was more of a rounded, kind of like my goddamn head, It was more rounded, But I'll never forget that screaming, that light. It was breaking day, and that light was screaming through those woods. And I saw his ear, and his ear was on the side, just like my ear right now, right on the side of its head. I'll never forget that.
No,
Yeah, that's the thing that I wrestled with in my head when I got back to our boat and we pushed off the shore, and eventually we saw it walk back out onto the gravel bar that we had pulled the boat up on. I just kept looking at back and forth in my head like, that's a man.
Yeah.
No, it can't be a man. But then you start looking at the features like, that's got to be a man. And then you're like, there's no fucking way that can be a man.
Yeah.
Well, almost everybody, if not every single person that's ever had an encounter with a Sasquatch will tell you, I'll never forget it. It changed my life.
Oh no.
Yeah, it affects everybody differently. There's a lot of people have an encounter and say, I can't go hunting after that, or I won't go out in the woods after that. It never bothered. I still go. The following fall, I was out in the deer stand by myself hunting still. I mean, it didn't stop me from going out, but you definitely look at your surroundings differently.
absolutely.
Your situational awareness is completely different when you're outside of your house. I don't care if you're at a city park looking at a tree line, or in a boat on a lake just looking at the shore, or out hunting in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're always looking around feeling like I'm in a different place than I was before this. But
I guess it just affected me different. I hadn't been in the woods in 55 years, guys. I'm going back May the 4th, though. I'm going back there. Yeah.
Well, like that's, I told my buddy who had an encounter and who had been into it for so long. And then when he finally saw one, it was like he realized that he really, truly didn't believe in them to begin with. Does now. But, because his questions were just like, how can they be out there walking around like this? And, it just tripped him out.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I don't care who it is, scientist, regular person, hunter, whatever you are, it's going to change. It'll change your life. It will.
Oh, Bigfoot changed my life, and I've never seen one.
Yeah, it'll change your life.
WTF, Mike, what's happening, buddy?
Hey.
Mid-South, what's going on? Yeah, just the fascination, just the hearing a couple stories that hooked me, hooked me right in, and then, here we are.
Well, you got three guys. You got three guys right here, right in the middle, right here, have seen the thing. Mm-hmm. Three of us right here.
I wish I could take you out there.
Yeah, and there's no way that all three of us are sitting there lying at the same time.
Oh
no!
You know what I'm saying? There's no way. It's impossible.
Well, I'll say this: I'm not one to say that I would, and I've said this before on Moog's show. I'm not one that's going to watch 1,000 episodes of Sasquatch Chronicles and say, oh, they all must be real. I mean, it comes down to I have a hard time with somebody. I understand that people are different. Like your personality, your ability to communicate is different from person to person. So when I'm able to share the details of my encounter and the way that I share it versus somebody else who would maybe have had a similar encounter in the way that they'd share it, maybe it's not as easy for them. Maybe it's hard. Maybe they're not as fluent or able to find the words to describe what they have they've experienced and that's in their head. But when somebody says, I had an encounter that was close up like that, and they can't recall details and it's missing details, and to me that starts, I'm not saying it automatically means they're not being honest, but man, I tell you what, I think of the details that I recall, and if I tell you about my encounter and I leave out a detail, it's like painful to not. It's playing like a movie in my head over.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I'm
Absolutely.
describing to you what happened, if I like left out a part, I don't know that I could even finish telling you about it at that point, because it just. So when I hear Sasquatch Chronicles and you hear a lot of these, I'm not saying that I say, oh, that guy's full of shit, or there's no way that happened. I'll believe everybody on the surface till you give me a reason not to believe it. And those reasons will fall into place when you can't recall details that there's no freaking way you could have missed it if you experienced what you're saying you experienced.
I can't remember what I did yesterday. I can't remember what I did goddamn yesterday, but I can remember what happened to me 55 years ago, just like it was this second.
Well, that was a huge shock to your system, and one that your mind kept on file, Jay. But you got to say, even you said it, Jeff, in a way you did. Everybody deals with a situation differently. So, people when they want to talk about their mind may actually, if it's a big enough shock, as well as I do, their mind may block out a lot of shit that happened.
That's
well,
true.
And it's just the way, and it's also just really comes down to the way people communicate. I mean, if the five of us, if I said, here's a subject, all of us study up on it for one day, and tomorrow we're going to stand in front of a room of 100 people and we're going to talk for 10 minutes on the subject we studied. Some of us are going to do well at it, and some of us are really going to suck at it because we're just not comfortable communicating like that, right? And so for some people, you've got to be able to see that maybe leaving out a detail or maybe having a hard time communicating what they experienced isn't because it didn't happen or because they're being evasive about it. It's because they're just maybe not skilled or comfortable in their ability to convey what they've experienced,
But dude, you are still talking about like something from your own point of view. Nobody else is really ready to talk about like what happened, and they can't put it into language just like you can. You have a gift of that. Not everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked to a guy, he's from Canada. He's actually not as far north in Manitoba as where my encounter was, but he's from Manitoba. And I met him up in northern Minnesota last year, and I was talking to him for quite a while. He had an encounter, a close-up encounter. He's a hunting guide up there. And he was telling me about what he experienced and what happened to him. And this guy was like within 30 feet of one for like a couple minutes because he was hunting and he was in a tree stand and was getting out of the tree stand when he realized this thing was close to him and it hadn't noticed him yet. And so he's like frozen like halfway down his stand and he sees this thing. And so he just stood there on the ladder and held still. He said, I was afraid to get in the back up in the stand because it would see me move, and I was afraid to get down. So he stood for a couple minutes just holding on to this ladder, watching it from like 30 or 40 yards on the back side of his tree. Now, maybe it knew he was there, but it wasn't really acting like it did, he said. But as he's telling me about this, I said, so what do you think it is, right? Because I'm curious as to what the origin people think they are, you know? And he says, I'll be honest with you. He says, even after seeing it that close for that long, he says, I don't think they're flesh and blood. And I said, dude, I can't even fathom that. Like after what I saw, right? And now when I do my research, I think, well, until I see something that shows me that it's something beyond that there's some supernatural characteristic to this, I have to approach it as flesh and blood until I run across data that shows me maybe a portal is real or something like that, right? And I've never seen anything like that. Everything I've seen leads me to believe it's flesh and blood. The fact that it can move from A to B so stealthily is because it does it every day and it's just really fucking good at it, right? I can't wrap my brain around it. But this guy, who's a hunting guide, who understands how bears move, who understands how deer move, I mean, he lives and breathes this, says, I don't think it's flesh and blood. And I said, I need to understand why you feel that way. And he said, Jeff, he says, I'm telling you, you look at how many there would have to be out there to support these encounters geographically all over North America. He says, and then you look at if they live in that one area 365 days a year, 3 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them in that square 20-mile area, they're going to eat there, they're going to sleep there, they're going to fuck there, they're going to shit there. There just isn't enough sign to show me that there's that many of them out here. He says, I've been in these woods my whole life. Why haven't I seen more sign of this if they're there every day, all day, year after year? And even if there's not that many of them, you start thinking about the signs that they would leave around, right? And so I'm thinking, you know, I can kind of see his logic there a little bit. I mean, I still believe they're flesh and blood, and I still believe they're geographically in all these areas people report them to be. But for the first time from an outdoorsman who really spends that much time outdoors, he had me thinking a little bit. He says, you know, I just have to believe that there's got to be a way that they can appear and disappear. Because if it's there every day, all day, why don't I see shit here? Why don't I see, you know,
Exactly.
Why am I not seeing more of this?
Exactly.
It's a good point. I mean, I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's a valid point. You know, you look at how many there'd have to be to support the amount of encounters, incidents that there are. Why don't we see more shit? Why don't we see more beds? Why don't we see more, you know, I hear what he's saying. I'm thinking, God, it's a hard thing to argue.
Yeah, but,
right?
but you're also dealing with an intelligence that their main goal, one of their main goals is not to be seen by humans, not to leave humankind, not to, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
I get that.
I was in those woods all the time where I saw them. I never heard the first peep out of anything. I never heard a knock. I never heard a whistle. I never heard a whoop or whatever they do, scream, nothing.
Mm-hmm. I get your point, Jeff, about that. I mean, I see where he was going with that, and yeah, I mean, you know, you can put that forth, but that'd be like me saying, you know, well, you know, there's a certain population of black bear in New York State, but I very rarely ever see signs of black bear, or I very rarely see the black bears. They must be supernatural.
Well, but then again, Joe, I can walk out there and I can find black bear shit all over the forest.
Black bears.
I can find black bear tracks. I can find
is
black bear tracks all over the forest.
Black bear
My
is stupid,
point
though. Black bear is stupid.
No, listen, I'm not trying to argue that this guy was right.
No, I know.
What I'm saying is if you want to use bears as an example, I understand that bears probably don't operate under the intelligence level that this creature would. Okay. But you got to also understand that bears don't live their life not leaving sign. The forest is littered with the sign. Even though we don't see skeletons when they die, even, I get that. But I can go out in northern Minnesota and walk for 5 hours out in the Pine Island forest and find 10 different piles of black bear shit and about 50 tracks in 5 hours. So we can say, well, hey, look, maybe it covers the shit up. Okay. How does it cover up every footprint it ever lays in something that's able to take a footprint? And maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just by luck we end up finding them. But now you start working those numbers geographically. How many would have to be in a population in North America to exist? And we're only finding a footprint here and there, here and there. There ought to be footprints all over. That's his point. I'm not saying that's mine. That's his point.
No, it's a good argument.
And it's a valid argument.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you find yourself conflicted?
I don't find myself conflicted on whether or not it exists. And I will continue to pursue it as a flesh and blood creature because my encounter proves to me it exists and my encounter proves to me that it's flesh and blood. But the idea of somebody saying it can pop through a portal or it can simply disappear and reappear or orbs or this and that, I'm not prepared to show you data that any of that is bullshit. I can't do that.
Sure.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So when he poses these kind of questions, I have to say, you know what? He's making a strong argument. He's had a physical encounter with one. And he's being an outdoorsman and saying, maybe they aren't flesh and blood. I've never felt like I could even take that position because I don't see any data that would support me ever not taking the position that
Jeff, on your quest to find a flesh and blood Bigfoot, are you fruitful?
Oh, I've collected DNA. I mean, if you go pop over to my channel, you can see the research I did over the last year. I mean, I've had them knocking at me. I've had them interacting with items that I left out in a research area that I conducted a program with Doug Hychek up in northern Minnesota here. We collected 27 hair samples and 14 skin oil samples over, 9 months, basically 8.5 months.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know that my encounter with one might have been by chance when it happened, but I went out looking in different areas of northern Minnesota, and I had to look at a lot of different areas before I finally found an area where it seemed to be where there was activity. So I don't think they're common. It's not like you just walk out in the forest and you can probably, like it's a coin toss that you'll see sign. I think it's very rare that you see sign. But we ended up finding an area where it was pretty remote. There was no human traffic that I ever saw for the 8 months I was there. I had to kayak 8.5 miles to get there and 8.5 miles out just to get to the road. But
apparently you convinced Nikki that they don't exist at all, Jeff.
I just saw that too.
Well, they obviously exist. My point is his argument wasn't that he had the encounter with one. He knows they exist. His argument is that they can't be there 24 hours a day in that area that he was, that it would leave footprints. There would be more kill signs of animals. There would be more there that he would see, is his argument.
It does make sense.
He's saying he believes they can be there, but they can also not be there. Now, how that would happen, he's not claiming to have some explanation. But he's saying, for some reason, he doesn't feel that it's flesh and blood, that it has the ability to not be there. I'm here to say I have no evidence to support any fucking idea that a theory like that could be possible. But I don't have any evidence to prove that it couldn't be. So that's why I had the conversation with him. Blew me away that it was the first person that I've ever met that had an encounter with one like that is saying, I don't believe that they're flesh and blood. Most people who are on the woo thing are not somebody who stood 15, 20, 40 feet away from one. They aren't. If you stood that close to one, you'd be like, holy shit, those things are
It's flesh
fucking
and
real.
blood.
That is hair, that is muscle, that is skin. There's just no way you could imagine it not being flesh and blood.
But what about if we don't understand, like, if you can transfer matter through a portal? I mean, I don't know.
Well, like I say, I
Look,
mean,
I go back-
once
I
I
go back
collect
to-
data that shows that I can say that happened, I'd be all over it. But
I go back to the same thing I always say. One simple question: if Bigfoots can use portals, and they're as intelligent as most of us think they are, and they can use portals, then why aren't they portaling in to the grocery stores at frickin' midnight, 2:00 in the morning, and stealing all the damn food?
here's the problem I have with it, Joe. Is
I mean, if you have a
most
portal,
of the things,
you can show anywhere you want to.
Joe, most of the things that we talk about, can it do this or can it do this, right? People have examples, other examples in our world here where some of these things can happen and some of them can't, right? Why can't it do this? This animal can do that. Why can't it do, you know what I mean? A lot of theories get developed because of other things that we see happening in our world. When science shows me they can take a fucking bunny rabbit and make it pop through a portal, then I'm open to having the conversation. Can you make a Bigfoot pop through a portal? I haven't seen anybody make jack shit pop through a portal,
If they
and
can
nobody's
make a
been
bunny,
able to do it.
if they can make a bunny pop through a portal, then it kind of leads me to believe that fucking Bigfoot can already do it.
Yeah. So I mean, but until modern science can recreate it in a lab where a portal is actually a real thing, till they've shown, hey, we've figured out how this works. Until then, it's a concept, and I'm not here to argue the reality of a concept or a theory. You know, so
we got something. We got 4 people right here. That 2 of them have seen one. 2 of them want to see one. I don't want to see one of the goddamn things ever again in my life. See,
Hey, man.
Hey, you know what? I wish it was just as easy as some people out there make it seem to
Claim.
be. I wish it was as easy to just go out to the area where I saw Rasta, and I would be able to take like people like Mogs and like Brent and everybody who's never seen one and wants to see one. I would love to be able to go out there and go, whoop, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. See, you guys see them?
you can start.
But it ain't
Joe,
that
just
easy.
start
Don't have to
use
like
the Todd Standing business model. Start charging people $3,500 to go stay in a camper for a week, and you'll haul them out.
There is no
Damn.
way. No way I would do that.
Hey, is
Nope.
There is
Todd
no way
Standing
in
for
this
real?
God's green earth that I'm going to be able to go, look, give me this amount of money and I'll take you out and you'll see Bigfoot have an experience. I can't do that because I cannot make Bigfoot magically appear and to you know, give you some fun. I can't do
But
that.
surely y'all believe in Todd Standing, right?
But Ben, here's the thing: you're talking about something. This isn't like a Rick Dyer thing. This is when we talk about Todd Standing. You're talking about a matter of opinion, because for everybody who says I've seen enough to say it's bullshit, I haven't seen anybody yet prove that it's bullshit. Now I've heard a lot of people say that it is, and they've given good evidence as to why it is.
That's true.
But then again, you're talking about a guy who brought. You're talking about a guy who brought Jeff Meldrum, John Bandernagel, and Les Stroud, all 3 at different times into out there, and all 3 of them felt that this thing wasn't being hoaxed by him. I mean, you'd think one of those 3 would be able to say bullshit if it was being hoaxed.
Yeah,
right?
and well, I've heard something else that, you know. Anyway, I'm not going to talk.
I'm not arguing in his defense. I'm not arguing in his defense. I'm just saying that a pair of gloves in the back of your car is not proof that you faked anything. Showing a picture of what appears to be an animated head and putting his face over it and saying the eyes put John F. Kennedy's face on it. The eyes are the same. put mine on. The eyes are probably saying it's just.
Mhm.
I don't know that it's scientifically been proven that he's full of shit. I
You're
would
right.
lean that direction myself, but I'm going to tell you the argument of whether or not he's real or fake. To this point, until somebody gives me scientific, some type of data proof that he hopes something, it's a matter of opinion. And I'd say 90% of people say he's full of shit.
I'm gonna have to go over and watch some of his stuff. You know, I've never seen
I
none of his
think
stuff.
I think he's actually had a genuine encounter. I don't doubt
I
that
think he
whatsoever.
has.
Oh yeah,
Because the
I
man,
believe
I
that.
think I think
the
the
man has
first two
spent a lot
thirds
of
of
time
his
out
career.
in the damn woods, man. He goes out there. There's no denying that. So I
Yeah.
have no doubts that he probably has had an encounter. Maybe two.
Joe, I think
I
he's
will sit here and
fallen
say I
victim.
don't believe those pictures.
He fell victim, if anything, he fell victim to the public demand to give me more. I think he had real encounters. No, I think he
That's
had
fair.
real encounters. I think some of the stuff he's got videoed may be real encounters. He's got some interesting video and pictures. I think he reached a point where he set this threshold where he kept all of a sudden internally and within himself, he felt, I have to give him more. And it pushed him to do something that probably he never should have
What
done.
wasn't too ethical?
That's I
Well,
think
you know
he's a
what?
victim of his own want to try to keep satisfying
Ivan Mark
the
syndrome.
demand, so to speak.
Ivan Mark syndrome. Look, you know what? Like I said, I just don't believe the pictures. But as far as that goes, man, I mean, you look, Todd Standing is the only guy that I've heard anyway. I may be wrong, but in personal experience, he's the only guy I've heard ever say that he is a professional Sasquatch researcher. That's how he makes his living. So
Yeah.
go from there. Okay.
I've seen on a couple different Facebook.
How are you going to make a living
Bigfoot
as a Sasquatch researcher unless you're coming up with data about Sasquatch? What
I've
happens when you
seen
can't
on
come
a
up with
couple
data
different
about Sasquatch? Maybe you make some
couple
up.
different Facebook Bigfoot groups, Joe. There's a half a dozen guys out there referring to themselves as experts, looking like fucking fools doing it.
Well, I'm
They
not
are.
saying expert. He didn't say expert. He said, I am a professional. It came right out of his mouth. I was watching one of his live.
By definition, he would be, because he was charging people to take them out into the woods,
This is
Joe.
my
That's
job.
So that would make him a professional. Yeah.
He's charging people to take them out in the woods.
I know that.
Guy who plays hockey on the Monday Night Men's League, and the guy who gets signed in the NHL. That's the difference. One's getting paid, and he was getting paid. He was getting paid good.
Did y'all see that YouTube show where this guy and his girlfriend went on an expedition with Todd Standing? Did y'all see this?
I've seen
I've
a couple
heard- I didn't
different
watch it.
accounts of people who have been out with him. The one guy who was doing the documentary on him when he found the gloves in the back of his car.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. All right, but I mean that's him, bro. Whatever.
But and again, I'm not trying to advocate that Todd Standing's real. I'm one of the guys who thinks maybe part of it was real and then it got out of hand and it got stupid. But I can tell you this, if me and Mogs were going to go meet down in Arizona, and on my way driving down there, I walk into a truck stop and see a pair of Bigfoot like winter gloves. And I laughed and thought, fuck, those are funny. And I bought them to give to Mogs, and I get down there and give them to him, and he laughs at them and throws them in the back of his car, and there they ride around for a month.
Good
Does
point.
that mean he's guilty of hoaxing anything?
Mogs?
Because that's the evidence they had against him there. And then nobody shows him putting them on, going out and doing it. I'm not advocating for him. I'm just saying that wouldn't work in a court of law.
Yeah, you're right.
It's true.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
So, that's probably one of the most, you look at the division of, do you believe in Bigfoot or not, right? Are you a skeptic or a believer? almost within our community, you have the same tenacity displayed in. Do you think Todd Standing's real or not? People
Well,
get passionate about it.
He's got lots of fans, man. There's no doubt about it. Lots of people love him, man. And they totally eat up everything.
Well, even
and,
still, he
that's
does
fine.
live broadcasts every week on YouTube, and you go there, and there's a couple hundred people on there listening to every word he says, hanging on the edge of their chairs.
People I pay attention to now, though, are not even people that most people even know about, because I keep my eyes open on different things. It's like, Mogs, you wanted me to send you that thing that I was talking about the other night about this thing I was watching. These guys got some footage that, dude, I don't know, man. It could be. It could be. And
I watched it. I watched a video today of a guy out morel hunting, and he records a scream, but during it, filming of it, he says, he showed mushrooms, and then he's like, he looks up and he hears a scream, but then somebody debunked it like that. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was a dinosaur.
And even showed it on his
exactly.
It was a dinosaur.
I'm actually going to go over. I'm going to discuss this on one of my shows coming up. I don't know which one, but it may be Friday's show since I can do 2 this week. But I'll tell you where you can find it, Mogs. I mean, I don't remember the minute marker or whatever, but if you watch it, you can drag it through. But it's a page or a channel. It was called what's it called? Outdoor University. And basically what I was getting from it was that they're not even Bigfoot researchers, right? These guys are normally doing hunting videos, deer hunting and stuff like that. And the only reason they were doing this and making this particular one was because they were talking to all these people, and they kept talking about Bigfoot. And these guys are like, well, let's find out if there's really anything to this. We've been hunting deer all this time, never seen a Bigfoot. So let's see if there's anything to it. And they go on, and I'll be damned, there's a point, and they didn't even notice it again. It was a situation where the guy was filming and everything else and didn't even see anything until after reviewing the footage. And then he saw it, and dude, I'm telling you, I can't say it. It's not good enough for me to go 100% that's a Bigfoot. But it's pretty intriguing footage, man. So I'm not sure what to make about it. I sure would like to talk to those guys.
It's Outdoor University online. Sasquatch caught on film file 118.
Yeah, it said, did we film Bigfoot or something like that? And they do catch something, man. Huh?
What about the dude that's throat singing? You ever saw that?
Yeah, that
I've seen throat singers.
Doug Hychek in Legend Meets Science 2 is going to feature the only human being who can create infrasound with their throat. And it's an Inuit person who does that old cultural throat singing that they're going to actually take a small little camera and put it down his throat, look at his vocal cords, and show you what they're doing while he's doing this. But if you record it and you analyze it, he can create infrasound by doing it, and he's supposedly the only known human being that's been able to do it. But
there's a video of the throat singing thing with something peeking out, like maybe a Bigfoot peeking out, like from behind a tree. Have y'all not seen that?
I thought Freddie Mercury could do it.
Yeah, probably.
Well, there's a band from, I'm guessing, Mongolia called The Who, H.O. And they're throat singers, and they fucking jam.
Yeah.
And these are like Mongolian biker throat singers.
Yeah, they're like Mongolian hard rock. You've heard them. Dude, those guys are amazing, man.
Fucking awesome.
I mean, you want to talk about, and this is heavy metal.
Mongolian
rock, dude. Mongolian heavy metal, dude. And it is awesome.
And their throat singers.
There really is a real biker gang in the U.S. here called the Mongrels.
Yep.
So maybe that's what they should be called in Mongolia, the Mongrels.
Look up the or whatever. It might be a Mongolian throat singer, but there is something peeking at him from behind the trees. Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Look it up, dude. Look it up. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, you know, that's the problem with video. You know, if you were going to get a hold of anybody who analyzes this stuff, whether it's High Check or you know, somebody Meldrum would recommend, any of these guys, and you said, hey, I've got video I want to send you, before they even look at your video, they're looking at you, who you are, what you do for a living, what you have to win or lose in the game. I mean, they analyze all that before they even start looking at your video. A lot of these analyzers do. They're not just analyzing video. They're analyzing the source. They're vetting the
That's
story.
understood.
They
Yeah.
want to know the details. What time did you leave that morning? Where were you heading when this happened? You know, things like that. Because
Yeah.
it has to naturally fit. If it doesn't, if there's one problem, then everything else is suspect. And
So,
so
Jeff,
when I just
what-
look at a video online
Go
or
ahead.
somebody says, hey, look at this video, I'll tell you what, show me a video yet that you couldn't. If I gave you $3,000 and said, take a week and take a couple friends, here's a really good camera, go recreate it, you could probably recreate it. I mean, that's the problem with most of the videos. What really carries the weight is the source. How did this come about? How did we capture this? That's, to me, carries more weight than a video or even an audio recording.
Yeah.
If somebody would have played Blaine Highcheck's audio recordings I featured on my show and not told me who it was or the story behind it, you can hear the tree knocks, you can hear the lip popping, you can hear these big rocks thrown into the lake, you can hear the rocks being thrown at his tent, rolling up, hitting the tent. I'd tell you, me and him could go up there and he could sit in the tent and I could stand out there and throw rocks and hit trees and I could recreate what he did. But when you start talking about this is who it was that recorded it, he was there with his girlfriend. She's been on record saying this is what happened. She's freaked out about it. And then you factor in it's Doug Highcheck's son. If this guy's lying or faking it, do you realize what's on the line here? I mean, when you start vetting it to that degree, you start realizing these fucking audio recordings are real.
Yeah. So is
It's
there
not
anybody?
just listening to it online somewhere. So that's the problem I have with looking at video. I really, until I know who it is and what the story was behind it, God, it's hard to put any amount of real validity into it, you know? I think that's our apprehensive nature when we look at video. We want it to be real. We're cautiously optimistic, but not knowing who it was in the story and all that shit, that's where it just eats a hole in you. And you say, I can't endorse it till I know that shit.
Okay.
That's why I find it interesting. I'm interested to find out if this guy actually does what he says, because in the video, I think he mentions somewhere in there that he's like, I don't know what the hell this is, man. He's like, is it a Sasquatch or not? I don't know what this is. And he says he's gonna have the video analyzed to see if somebody can tell him what it is. And I want to see if he actually does that, because if he does, I mean, that lends more to it that he didn't set it up, you know, just to make a video. He's actually looking for the answer to what he actually filmed.
What's Jay?
So
He's embarrassing his lady friend.
Jay.
That's
I
my
agree.
my new lady friend.
Oh yeah, is that chair
Yeah.
big enough? You gonna break that
Remember I-
chair? Or she comes over?
Remember I told you about my gemologist I met? That was her.
Right on.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. We got a
Damn
date.
it. I was gonna say something, but now Jay distracted me.
We got a
Well,
date. We
dog.
got a,
Is there any like source that you would take like do you listen to any kind of like Sasquatch Chronicles or anything like that? Anybody?
I've never actually listened to
I listen to
Sasquatch
everything.
Chronicles, to tell you the truth.
I never have. No.
You
But-
know, I think
that's not for
anybody.
any personal reason. I just never listened to it.
I wanted to say something about the video thing that made me think about when Joe was talking about it. You were talking about a video where the guy's like, I don't know what this is, right? I think there's two genuine reactions to somebody filming one. You know, obviously, let's just say this. 3 seconds before somebody has an encounter, nobody plans on having an encounter, right? I mean, they're all pretty much, you're operating under duress and haste, and right? I mean, you're grabbing your phone.
You're right. You're right.
Nobody's
Yeah.
planned on it. Just happens. So to me, there's two natural responses in that case. One, you're either bewildered saying, I don't get it. What the fuck is that? I don't understand. To me, that's a natural response. The other one is you're going to fucking come undone. You're going to lose your fucking shit.
Or run
That's the other
away.
natural response. When you have somebody filming something saying, oh, look, there it goes. Wow, look at that. I can't believe how fast he is. That's not a natural response to me. That doesn't seem like a natural. The natural response would be, what the fuck is that? Or it's going to be,
Friedman, right?
get me the fuck out of here and you're going to lose your mind. Those are the two responses that to me will happen. The whole, man, look how fast he is.
Make
Look
the
at,
most
oh,
sense.
God.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving me the play-by-play on a running back scoring a touchdown. It's like that's not a natural response.
That's like me when I saw mine. That's all I could think of was, how in the fuck am I going to get out of these woods? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The guy didn't even, I mean, it wasn't like they were filming and saw it and then filmed it, you know. They were like he was just panning, you know, the woods. And then after he got it back and he was reviewing the footage and he shows you, you know, what he was doing. And yeah, when he was panning, dude, and there it is, man. And it looks pretty big, man. Now, I don't have a lot to judge that on, but it kind of like came from behind these trees and was just moving, man. And it wasn't like super fast, you know, but you know, like I said, I can't say that it's 100% that it's a Sasquatch. I find the video intriguing. I find his reaction to what he might have filmed. I find that intriguing, you know, so I don't know. Like I said, I'm maybe on one of my shows, I'm going to go over it and show it to people. And I don't know. I'm going to try to reach out to these guys and see if I can get them on and see if there's anything else that's gone on, or, you know, and if he's actually,
I'm watching that part of the video now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
an,
the other
you know,
part of,
like I said,
the
my
other
opinion,
part
but I
that-
find it intriguing.
the other part that I think carries weight and validity to something is when you look at somebody who has a lot to lose. I mean, what's the risk versus reward in coming out saying, I saw a Sasquatch, or here's a video I took. A good example is that guest that I had on my show, that mayor from Regersville, Pennsylvania. The guy's an elected official. The whole town fucking loves him. He's been the mayor for like 8 years, right?
That was interesting as hell. Yeah.
And he's coming out saying this thing fucking was screaming in my campsite and shit. I mean, if people think you're crazy, guess what? They ain't gonna vote you as fucking mayor, man. I mean, that guy had everything to lose to come out and tell people. So, you know, you just, same thing with the SAR reports we got from a search and rescue team up in northern Minnesota, who's tasked occasionally by the St. Louis County Sheriff's Department to go up and extract people from the boundary waters. There's a lot of reasons why people get extracted from the boundary waters area, which is 1,400 miles of navigable waterways all in the middle of nowhere up there. You could get attacked by a mountain lion, a bear. You could roll your ankle and break it. You could have a heart attack. There's a lot of reasons. And you know what? The sheriff's department goes in and evacuates every one of them. They have a helicopter set up. They have everything, whole crew. But then there's an SAR, a search and rescue team, that gets dispatched certain calls. And they ended up having 9 search and rescue calls in an 18-month period on one little pinpoint area of 3 lakes, where they had people who had went into a campsite, were skilled enough, of sound mind enough to navigate in, hours of paddling. And they were so out of their freaking mind or freaked out, they couldn't get themselves out. They had to be extracted by this team. And all 9 of those cases were encounters. Bigfoot encounters. And you start reading the details in. Now, here we got a guy on an SAR team he comes to us and says, here's these reports. I'm going to give them to you. You should go look at this area. Now you start thinking, this guy didn't have to do this, right? He's doing it because he's conflicted. He's got a problem with this. The reason why the sheriff's department was giving this SAR team these calls was because if the sheriff's department went in and got these people, they'd have to interview them, depose them afterwards, figure out what happened to them, get them medical attention, and they'd have to write reports that could all be FOIA requested and were matter of public record. But if they farmed those suspicious, crazy calls like that out to this SAR team, they didn't have to do that. The sheriff didn't want a news team standing there interviewing them. Hey, we heard your deputy said somebody got attacked by Bigfoot. He doesn't want anything to do with those calls. He was giving them to this SAR team, and this guy on this SAR team that runs it says, check out these reports. Now, to me, when you start seeing that, dude, that's some validity there. I mean, it's not like somebody saying, hey, I heard you should go check out that area, you know? So when you get sheriff's deputies or guys coming forward, or like the mayor of that town in Pennsylvania saying, this is what I've experienced. Dude, you start looking at it and saying, why the fuck would this guy make this up? I mean, there's just no reason that you would make that up.
No, nothing. There's nothing to gain.
Well, there's too much to lose is the other side of it.
Exactly.
Well,
I don't think I've.
I can tell you why.
Though.
But I can tell you why some people would make up shit. I mean, we see it all the time. We see it all the time.
Look at Rick Dyer. Why would he make it up?
You know, because Rick Dyer, you know, he made a fucking good chunk of money off of that.
Yeah, but Joe, when he hatched the scheme,
your average person,
what did he have to lose? Was he fit? My point is this: he made money off of it, but prior to it, when he conjured up the idea, right? Was he rich? Did he have a job that he needed a reputation? Or was he just fucking broke and said, hey, what do I got to lose, right? I don't think Rich Dyer was a wealthy individual or an attorney who had all these clients that respected him. I think he was a guy who just said, fuck it, what do I got to lose? Let's do this. And he made money on it.
Yeah, well, that's all I'm saying. I mean, as your average person, you're right. I mean, most people, and that's why I think more reports should come out. But most people, they don't want to say anything, you know.
Chuck Gonzalez says, "Can
I agree with that.
Use real sorcery as in magic?"
Well, let me ask. So. I would flip that question around and say, do you think there's any humans that can? Because if there's humans that can, then I think you could argue that maybe Bigfoot can. If you don't believe that stuff's real and that humans can't do it, then I think that's a good argument that, well, what would make you think Bigfoots could do it?
True. What else we got here? What are we at? We're almost at damn 2 hours already. What else? Bigfoot Anon. How's it going, Connor? What do we got? We got 70 watching. Jeez, that's awesome.
I know, and that's cool. That's cool. You're popular, Modes, man. You got a good show, bro.
You do, bro. You got a good show.
It's got to get.
Well, normally, and then we all come on here.
Yeah, then we all come on.
He normally has a good show. So me and Joe and Jay and
these
Ben.
fucking guys again.
Yeah, God damn it.
Hey, but you know what? I'd rather have, you guys on and nobody on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm settling, but you guys come on and make a show.
I appreciate that, Mose.
You know what I mean?
Well, you guys are better than nothing.
Oh well, I gotta
we don't try to turn it into a Sasquatch show, Miles. We
I'm
get
trying to
asked
see if
questions.
anybody handles this. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I got it. They should go away. There we go. I think they went away.
Yeah, they did.
All of Mr. Lee's friends are popping in here, spamming the place. I tell you.
There's Derek.
He's sharing the wrong sites. Yeah, Derek's been in here for a while.
Derek said, "Damned by faint praise."
Yeah.
See, now this says that was timed out for 5 minutes. So I thought I blocked it, but we'll see.
I show it timed out there.
I'm not used to timing shit out from this side. I didn't know I could block the user from the.
Stevie B got it.
From the StreamYard side. She got it from the YouTube side.
Yeah.
Timmy boy. He said, "Anybody get the number for those hot girls?" Damn, Timmy boy.
She says it keeps popping up. I don't see it on this side. Let me.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Persistent bastards.
I know. Yeah, you never know when they're going to hit you, man. I mean, they've done it to all of us, these bots. So
I
Yeah,
haven't
but
gotten.
Stevie-
I guess I did get them the other night, but I haven't gotten it a lot. But my channel's pretty small. Yeah.
I haven't recently, but yeah.
I almost never get them. Like, that's one of the firsts.
Mhm.
It's weird. I don't know if it has to do with being monetized or not monetized.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
I've seen channels smaller than mine. I mean, just channels that have like 50 to 100
Yeah,
people. They're
inundated
getting
with
fucking spammed left and right. It's like,
Slam.
Yeah.
is it just because their title of their show is something that's more searchable by those bots, so they're found easier? I don't know.
I don't know. I usually don't have an issue with them. But I'm just scanning.
I don't usually have issues with them until my credit card bill comes and I see how much they charge when you call them. That's
I
a bunch
shouldn't
of
have clicked on
bullshit.
that one, huh?
Jeez,
Damn,
was
I
that
knew I
call
should've clicked
45
that.
minutes? I didn't realize it was 45 minutes.
You can go that long?
Yeah.
The Russian bots seem to have dropped off. What is this? It's a Russian hack fella.
Dude, the Rostalocks, he's got the same name as my buddy. Well, part of it anyway.
Well, Rasta.
Mhm.
Where'd you come up with that? Where'd you come up with that name, Joe?
Because of the way he looked, man. I mean, he had hair
really?
hanging down in front of his face. It was all because it didn't look like he's ever been to a barber, of course. So, I mean,
And Joe was probably stoned.
yeah, he didn't have. I mean, he didn't have dreadlocks, but the way it looked, so I named him Ross.
Had it
Oh,
been
okay.
raining in the day before that or that night?
It was, yeah, oh yeah, there was rain. It wasn't raining that day, but yeah, it had rained. Yeah, I think it had rained all that week.
But why?
What my encounter? It
Why
had
name
rained
him?
that morning, overnight
Why
that
name him?
morning,
I don't
and
know.
there was parts on it that
Yeah.
that like its hair flowed, and then there was other parts where
So-
you could tell the hair was wet and matted down.
It was dry as a bone where I saw
I guess
mine.
Mobs is just so I wouldn't have to keep saying that thing I saw. Give him a name, Rasta.
Yeah.
But, just in case I ever get a chance to run into him again. I'm
Shake
starting
hands.
I
to
don't
doubt
even
it.
know what I would call the one that I saw. Motherfucker
Yeah,
Jones, I guess. If I had to name the one I saw, it'd be Motherfucker Jones.
Heart attack waiting to happen.
I mean, I couldn't name it a cute name. There was nothing cute about it.
I mean, I could have named him George, but that's my middle name, so I want to do that. And he didn't really look like a George to me.
George. I immediately go to Bugs Bunny.
I know, right? I
Yeah.
will name him George, and I will hug him and pet him and stroke his pretty feathers. Wait a minute. Bunny rabbits don't
You're not a
have
bunny
feathers.
rabbit. Oh, well.
Not a
We're
bunny
talking about
rabbit.
cartoons.
If you're not a bunny rabbit, then why do you have long ears?
And a fuzzy tail.
That was a great, huh?
And a fuzzy tail.
Yeah.
He was a
Is that the
wascally
same
rabbit.
dog that was like, is that the same dog that he's like, train tracks? Sends him.
God, I
Sends them
remember as a
down the
kid
train track.
waking up on Saturday morning and watching Warner Brothers cartoons, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that
Favorite
was back
pastime.
when cartoons were cartoons. I mean, when my sons were small, I mean, people say, oh, I remember as a kid I watched the Smurfs and shit. Fuck, they didn't have Smurfs. It was all Warner Brothers, you know.
Yeah.
Marvin the Martian.
I
Oh, I love
P-32 space modulator.
What
I like-
happened to the earth-shattering kaboom?
like
Yeah.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season. You
Have a
can't
joint
beat
like
that
that.
stuff, man. You can't beat that stuff, man. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but
I
it
loved
was
it.
adult humor. You know, it was great humor.
Absolutely. Absolutely adult humor. I loved it when the dopey ass cowboy was looking for bugs and he was leaning over one hole looking down in it and there was a hole behind him and bugs popped up in the hole behind him with a pistol and shoved it in his ass and said, don't move or I'll blow your brains out. I mean, that's adult humor, man. It's like your brains are in your ass. You know?
I love that my sons are, they're 17 now, and last night I was laying on the couch and I was like, sounded like a jet was flying like hot, like right over the house, but it didn't like, it wasn't there and then gone like a plane would be. It sounded like it was just there, right? I was like, what the hell's the sound? So I go downstairs. The boys got the big screen going with the surround sound going. They're watching Blade Runner. And I said, what are you guys watching? Drew says, well, I've been looking up movies, iconic movies from the 80s and 90s. Everybody's saying we have to watch Blade Runner. So they were watching Blade Runner. I was like, man, they're really getting into all the old retro stuff, you know. The other night they were watching I was watching a movie. It was on HBO, Smokey and the Bandit. Now, I've seen it a million times, but I was like, shit, if it's on, I'm going to watch it, right? Drew walks in right when it started. He's like, what are you watching? I said, this is a movie way back before you were born. And he sits down and watches it. He's laughing his ass off the whole way. And it's just cool seeing these kids watch stuff that we were into back then, But
Yeah, it's classic, everything's been so like you'll never, the closest thing you'll get to like that kind of humor, and they do show regularly, is like Family Guy, that adult humor that
I think the last real genuinely funny movie that I've seen that wasn't like a stretch or shock value humor or thing, but just funny, was probably Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. I mean, that movie from beginning to end was just fucking hilarious the first time you see it. And it was just kind of that dopey comedy, It wasn't like shock value shit. Now you watch a movie that's funny, and there's moments that it's funny, but I mean, like maybe 5 or 10% of the movie, right? It's like you wait a half an hour for them to set up something funny. But to see that much humor in a movie, I think Dumb and Dumber is probably one of the last real ones that was
because it was
that
stupid
funny.
humor.
But yeah, it just,
Timmy, I think it was Timmy Boy on that show, that music show y'all had last night. I think it was Timmy Boy said something in the chat that was really funny. At least it caught me funny. He said that his mother-in-law read the book The Exorcist and said it was the most evil book she had ever read, so she threw it in the lake. So he went and got another book of it and drenched it in water and stuck it on her pillow. I thought that was
It's not a nice thing to do to your mom.
Pretty funny though.
Yeah.
I love
no,
jokes.
Mo,
I
you're
love
a
funny.
Family Guy, man. I remember one of the funniest things, and to this day, I still, because it was so damn funny, was the scene one time. It was Meg's birthday, and she was feeling all down because Meg's never had a lot of friends, right? To be having a birthday party, so she got a couple of girls that come over, and Peter goes out there with the cop strippogram type thing for his daughter's birthday. You remember that? And he was like stripping for her, and he put his ass in her face. And when he came back, her glasses were gone. He put his ass in her face and wiggled it around, and he stepped away. And then she was like, her glasses were gone. I was like,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, that show was off the chain, man. Sometimes, dude.
Jimmy says, "I wish I would have, but it wasn't me."
I thought it was you, Timmy.
That's a good prank. I love good pranks. I love playing pranks on people. If it's,
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
the best prank and I don't know. I may have told this story on your show before, Mogs, about the lottery ticket on a coworker that I hopefully I didn't, but I worked at a car dealership and I was fairly young, and there was this really old guy who was a salesman there. Kind of bugged me a little bit, and it was a VW dealership, Audi, Volkswagen, and it was right when the new Beetle was relaunched in '98. And we had a whole truckload of them showing up the next morning at like 7 a.m. And the general manager said, "Jeff, you got to be here early tomorrow to sign for them." So I came in early, and this guy's office was next to mine, this old guy's. And I walked into his office looking for a pen, and I opened up his drawer and I seen a lottery ticket there. And this guy had bought a lottery ticket like twice a week, every time there was a drawing. And I looked at it and I quick grabbed the newspaper and I was looking at the lottery numbers, looking at his ticket, and it wasn't a winner. And then it occurred to me I should make it a winner. So I ran down to the gas station and bought a lottery ticket for the yesterday's winning numbers and put it in his fucking desk drawer. And I'm sitting in my office and this guy comes into work. He's like 70 years old. He sits down and he's opening his newspaper, and then I hear his drawer slide open, and I'm like peeking up over the top of the cubicle to watch him. And he's like, he looks at the ticket, and then he's looking at the newspaper, and he's back and forth, and he sits back in his chair, and he's like trying to control his breathing. And he grabs the ticket again and looks at the paper again, and he calls his wife, and he's telling her, "Honey, you're not going to believe this. We won the fucking lottery." And she's like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm serious. We won the lottery." He goes, "I'm coming home." And he hangs up the phone. And I walk out into the cleanup bay where the owner of the dealership was. And he was kind of like a father figure to me. We always joked around. And he's an elderly guy. And I said, "Listen, in about 2 minutes, Ron's going to come out here and quit. Don't let him quit." And my boss, I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I told him what I did, and he's like, "Oh, Jeff, come on." I said, I think he thinks he won." Ron walks out into the cleanup bay and tells Al, "I got to go home." And Al says, "You can't go home. You're here working." And Ron says, "I got to go home right now." And Al's sitting there smoking a cigar. He says, "Well, you can't go home. You're scheduled to work." And Ron says, "Fine, then I fucking quit." He starts walking out the door. And Al says, "Ron, before you walk out that door, you better check the date on your lottery ticket." And he walks back in his office and looks, and this guy's quitting. he's so pissed off, he loaded all his shit up and fucking quit.
Mm.
And then I felt bad because on the surface, I was like, this is the best prank ever. And then on the backside, I just felt horrible about it. But he thought he won $100 million and he quit his job.
Did he quit?
When I got
And then
back,
Al was mad at me because I'm the guy who made him quit. But
when I graduated from high school, remember I told you I went on that 6-month motorcycle ride. When I got back, I needed a job, so I went to work for Pepsi Cola Company. Pepsi Cola Company loading the trucks up before they'd go out and deliver the next day. You know, I was 21 years old. Needed a job, needed some money. Well, we had this darn mechanic there. They ate bologna with mayonnaise every night. That's what he brought in. Bologna sandwich with mayonnaise. One night we were sitting around. He came in to eat late, so we got in his lunchbox, scraped all the mayonnaise off, and put Gojo. You know what Gojo is?
oh, geez, the hand cleaner.
Yeah,
It's like gritty. It's got like
yeah. We put that on his. We put that on his sandwich. You know, he ate half that sandwich before he said, "This thing don't taste right." I said, "No shit." Put Gojo on his sandwich.
Now go throw up because you're about to your brains out.
yeah, no shit.
Wow.
Yeah, we got
I'm
Jeff
poisoning
over
other
here making people quit their job. We got Jay Fritz over here poisoning people with fucking Gojo on their bologna sandwich. God, man, what kind of people you get on this show, Modes?
Stevie, good night.
Good night,
No,
Miss
there's some skeletons I wish would remain in the closet.
Yeah, all my skeletons look like clown skeletons.
Yeah, I just can't imagine Joe ever doing anything bad when he was younger.
You're right.
Model citizen.
Yeah,
Model citizen.
yeah. Sure.
The kind of guy you would hope your
There's a
daughter
book
would
waiting
meet
to be
someday.
Joe's too busy running from his brothers.
They ain't nobody's ever saw me as the guy that they want their daughter to be with, man.
Well, listen, guys, we're gonna call this a night.
Sounds good to me. I'm out of here. Bye.
If Stevie's
Awesome.
going to bed,
Wanna
then
thank-
it must be
Thank
bedtime.
you guys for coming on. Ben, thanks for showing up. Oh shit, it's only like 8 o'clock here. 8 something. This is weird.
It's always fun.
Oh, where did Jay
It's
go?
weird.
Oh. Good night, Jay. I turned away. I look up. He's gone. So it was with Ben too.
He's got his geologist coming over.
No, definitely, guys. I want to thank you guys.
It's fun, man.
We started talking about drugs and ended up back on Bigfoot, and you know. Oh, his geologist is coming over.
Well, I don't. That's what he said.
He probably wouldn't be happy knowing that he's showing the
He
picture.
shows that picture of her. I'm like, okay. She's on her way over, I guess, right? It's like, this is my
Geologist.
online girlfriend. She's a
Gemologist.
supermodel. I'm meeting her for the first time tonight.
There's a joke I'm not touching. Anyway, Jay, have a good time tonight. Whatever you do.
Yeah, don't break the chair.
All right, guys. Jeff, thanks for coming on. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the trivia last night. It was different.
Yeah, we'll have to
I
do
love
it
trivia. I
maybe.
love, yeah.
I like being able to include everybody in the chat, right? But I guess, like you said, there's a lot of challenges with that. And then when you start keeping track of how many people were actually scoring points, I mean, maybe there's a total of about 10 or 12 people, right? Maybe the way to do it is for me to come up with all these questions and have a panel of 10 people, get myself and 9 people on there, and we'll have a contest with those 9 people. Now that you could do live time, no, you hold your hands up, no Googling, I mean, you could make it fair that way, but you can't include everybody in chat that way. That's what would suck
Yeah,
about it.
then you're
But-
excluding people, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
so it
But
just
yeah, I
really
mean,
isn't.
just for shits and giggles, it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
Jen, take care. All right, guys. Well,
All right.
I
I'll
will
see you
guys
Thursday
on
night.
Thursday. Yeah, man. 9:00 Eastern.
Cool. Awesome.
I think I'm gonna. Thanks, Jeff. Joe, I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Tune in tomorrow night,
Right on.
Wednesday, New York Sasquatch Live with Joe and Molly.
What time?
We're gonna be doing it same time as us, 7:00.
Right on. Very good. Be sure to check it out, guys.
All right.
All right, Joe.
I love all
See
you
you tomorrow.
guys. See ya.
Take care. Oops. Too quick on that trigger finger. Didn't let him get his Caroline, my pleasure. Good to see you. Yeah, guys, I hope you had a great time. I hope this new time works out. You know, I think it will. So I'm glad to see everybody showed up that could, you know, that hadn't been, you know, coming around because it was so late. So, you know, let's keep this up and have a good time, and you know, now you guys can get to sleep at a normal time. All right, guys. If you guys like the show, please hit that like button below. If you're new, subscribe and share. You know, tell your friends. Also, leave comments below. You know, I really love reading the comments, and I don't get back to everybody. I do read them all, and I'll like and you know, love or whatever, and the comments. And some I get back to, some I don't. You got a question, I'll be glad to get back to you. But yeah, if anybody wants to donate to the show, you can go through my PayPal. You'll see it in the descriptions below, or on my channel at the top banner in the lower right-hand corner. But on that note, all right, guys, I'll see you in 2 days. Have a wonderful night, and peace and God bless, guys.